Hello my viewers, welcome back to the channel. On the video title, you know what this video is about. The top 10 defenses in the NFL entering 2024. As you guys know, we're still waiting. Got a few more months until the season starts, or preseason gets here and stuff. Basically been a lot of things, mini camps, the mandatory mini camps they got going on. They're gonna have a period of time where there's no any news at all probably, and then they start the training camps, and then we get to preseason, and then we get to the regular season, what we all been waiting for. But until then, we have videos like this, the top 10 defenses entering 2024. As you know, most of the teams that kind of got their rosters, they might be adding some few pieces on here and there throughout the time of training camps and stuff like that when they got to adjust the rosters and stuff, but most of their main core pieces are already kind of been added on. So we're going to dive into some of the top defenses here. And starting off first, really, number 10, I like to say some honor mentions before I get to number 10. Honor mentions will be the Bears defense and the Packers defense. The Bears did a pretty good job in adding some pieces on defenses, on their defense on the past few actually the past few years a little bit too. I don't know, the defense kind of get overlooked a little bit because the offense, where the offense play haven't really been up to par. Now they got Caleb Williams added to the roster, Keenan Allen, they added some pieces, so we're gonna see how it looks. But adding different guys on defense, and the Packers same thing as well. They added safety to the team as well as they needed on the spot. So I think those two teams right there, kind of honorable mentions, some teams that could be potentially top 10 entering the season, barring injury and stuff. So I put them kind of in the honorable mention little tab right there. Now, starting at number 10, we're going to start from the Patriots. The Patriots defense with, of course, Matthew Judon leading the charge, getting sacks after sacks after sacks. I think the year before last, he had almost all pro season, something like that. Then last year, pretty solid as well too. He'll be back as well. Of course, Christian Gonzalez, that cornerback they had, he had some injuries last year as well too. Patriots really had a lot of injuries last year, but they still was able to hold teams under their averages, in passing yards and rushing yards. It was doing a phenomenal job in doing that. Now that was a team led by the Belichick defense. Now they do have, of course, they brought on the new coach, added them in. Gerard Mayo. Gerard Mayo is a former Patriot. Defensive minded. Most likely won't be defensive minded. Most likely because him being on the defensive side of things and stuff as well, and being on the Belichick coaching tree. Most of those guys are defensive coaches, so we should see how he kind of pan out. But the Patriots got nice depth. They added some pieces to the different spots of depth, and most of their stuff comes from scheme, scheme, and also some players they have too like that, but the right players in the right system. I feel like you look throughout history or the past 20 years, the Patriots, their defense has always been a bright spot of their team. You look at it, and they might not have the most eye-popping names. They always be guys who might have a little bit of a name, but mostly guys who are like, hey, these guys just fit this system very well. So I think the Patriots most likely going to run the same system with Matthew Judon since he's under Bill Belichick's coaching tree and reign. I think the Patriots defense is still top 10, can go out there and stop people. It's just their offense is what kind of overshadows that. I think the offense only averaged 14 points, 13 points last year, which is horrible. But the defense was able to hold teams under their averages in many games. So we're going to see what happens this season. But Patriots defense is number 10 for me on this list to start off. And number 9, we have the Lions. The Lions, of course, with Aiden Hutchinson, with McNeil, DJ Reader, all these guys be added to the team. Terrion Arnold, the cornerback, you can play man-to-man defense. That was kind of their weakness last year, the secondary. They had some spots here and there, the sudden situation that happened, they released him. But they had some spots here and there in the secondary, but they're up front. Their front seven was good. It's just their secondary they kind of lacked in different games last year. They kind of cost them a few times, But adding a guy like Terrion Arnold who can play man-to-man defense, play press defense, and then also when you have that front with Aiden Hutchinson, McNeil, Jay Reader, Carlton Davis getting added there as well, Rakestraw, another rookie getting added there too. So they added some pieces, some guys who can play man-to-man defense, guys who are physical, who are not scared to put their hand on someone as well, so they can able to run their style of defense. Coach Campbell is old school. He's trying to bring pressure in. He want to create as many turnovers as possible. Want to get as much pressure in as possible. So you'll see a lot of different blitzes and different styles they try to do in their defense. And I think the Lions defense and the Lions team in general is probably, I think, the best. Might be one of the best in the NFC. Now, because they have a balance of both. I'm doing another video separately of the top offenses, and the Lions on that list as well. But the Lions have a great balance of both being a good defense, and a good offense that balance the team out. That's why they play so well. And it's been years of building up. And it's great to see the Lions get back to being competitive like it was in the old days when they had, of course, Barry Sanders. But getting back to a level of hey, they have a chance of maybe winning the Super Bowl is very interesting. But this defense right here is nice. Aiden Hutchinson has panned out to be who they say he was going to be. Great pass rusher, amazing pass rusher, and is building more and more. And I think next year is going to be a big time year for him, a breakout year where he'd be up there and considered maybe one of the best edge rushers because he's just getting better and better. His agility, his quickness, his get off on the edge, and his versatility to do different things out there as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Lions pan out. But I think the Lions definitely is a top 10 defense, and I got them at number 9 on my list. Number 8, I have the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys, of course, they lost Dan Quinn, they lost Gilmore, but they're still a good defense. Cowboys can go out there with the best of them. Fix this a little bit. Cowboys can go out there with the best of them and just go out there and just play amazing defense. They had a great defense ever since Michael Parsons kind of got there. They had a solid defense before him, but ever since he got there, he made their job is very easier. Michael Parsons, look at Marcus Lawrence and all those different guys they have around the front. Secondary as well. You have Bland. I think Bland was a rookie last year. The way he played, I don't think they expected him to play like that because he started off a little differently. But remember, Diggs got injured, who's also coming back. It's going to be a nice tandem, him and Bland together. And Bland more of a press corner type guy. He had some interceptions last year, but Diggs more a ball hawk type, a guy who takes a lot of chances. And Bland's a little more settled. But when the opportunity did come to play, he went out there and had I think the most pick sixes in NFL history. I think he had 5 or 6 of them. So he was an amazing player last year. And he shot out of a cannon, and he was just playing very good. He had some ups and downs. He's a rookie, Remember the one game he played against the Seahawks, DK Metcalf got the best of him most of the time, but he was playing very good. And as a rookie to be in that type of situation where you have to step up, do the injury, and become one of the top corners and go out there and guard some of the best in the league, I think he did a phenomenal job. And I think bringing Diggs coming back this year to pair up with him and Bland. And I know he came off with an ACL injury, but ACL injuries are different nowadays. Nowadays, the ACL, they can heal that stuff fast. I see a lot of people come back, 5 months now. It used to be like a 8 to 9 month injury, but now I feel like it's like a 6, 7, maybe 5, 6, 7 month injury now. The way the medicines and the technology they use to kind of like reconstruct people's knee. So I think when he come back, they're gonna be a nice little duo. Michael Parsons as well. So. They have some nice guys on the defense. Their main concern should be the offense because they didn't really add too much on the offense, but they added Kendricks on the defense and middle linebacker spot that they needed to fill up a little bit. So we're going to see how that kind of pans out. But I have the Cowboys at number 8 on my top 10 defense list right now. At number 7, I have the reigning, defending, 2-time back-to-back Super Bowl champions, the Chiefs defense at number 7. Now, the Chiefs, of course, they have Chris Jones. They have, of course, Justin Reed and pieces they still have. Bolton as well is still there, Nick Bolton, but they did lose some key pieces though. That's why they kind of dropped my list. They lost Willie Gay Jr. No, they lost him, and they also lost to Jerry Sneed. They traded him away to the Titans. So they lost some key pieces. But overall, I think their defense is still good. Last year, their defense was the one that kind of carried them. You see what they did in the AFC Championship game against the Ravens. Held Lamar under his usual average, the MVP, and a lot of the players around forcing turnovers and kept the game very close. And even in the Super Bowl as well, them going out there and keeping the Chiefs around, and then the Chiefs stayed around with the 49ers, who's a high-power offense, to kind of help the 49ers down too as well. So that Chiefs defense did phenomenal last year, and I think this year they're going to do a pretty good job as well in being a top 10 defense. But they just lost some key pieces, so I couldn't put them even higher on the list because I feel like they lost. Some other teams got more dynamic pieces than them. But overall, their defense is still good. Still can go out there, compete with the best of them, and still can be a Super Bowl level defense. So I have the Chiefs at number 7 on my list. At number 6, I have the Texans. The Texans have been a team too, just like kind of like the other teams, some other teams I mentioned on this list already. A team that's been balancing both out. You look at what they did with their offense, but the defense, they added a guy in Daniel Hunter getting added there. They have a young, innovative defense. Will Anderson, who won Rookie of the Year last year. I thought it should have been Kobe Turner, but Will Anderson went out there and won Rookie of the Year. I think he had 7.5 sacks last year. I think 6 or 7 sacks last year. Did a pretty good job. So now adding Daniel Hunter out there as well. They added some more depth to the secondary as well with Jeff Okudah. So they have some pieces there, and they had a lot of draft picks. They drafted some guys as well. Remember, they traded away some draft picks as well, kind of get more capital. But they did a phenomenal job last year. The D'Amico Ryans did a good job on their defense. I think held teams under their average as well, like that in many games. I think like out of the 13 games. I think 12 or 13 games, they had like the defense was holding teams under and rushing and stuff. So they played good. And like last year, I didn't think the Texans were going to be like that, especially defensively. Offensively, they kind of came along, but defensively, they played very well too. So I think they're going to build upon that. And you add pieces like Daniel Hunter, a guy who was considered, an defensive player of the year and stuff, had his name around. I think he had 17, 18 sacks Add that to Will Anderson and other pieces you have around the line, and also the pieces you have in your secondary, your linebackers as well. I think they're going to be a team to be reckoned with as well. So I have them number 6 on the list, and I think they're a top offense as well too. And I'm gonna have that video coming out as well. So the Texans, in my opinion, like I mentioned many times on the channel, I feel like they had the best offseason because you look at what C.J. Stroud did in the regular season and what those guys did, Tank Dell, Nico Collins did in the regular season. They went out there and was able to go out there and be aggressive. They're like, okay, this young core of guys balled out like that in the regular season. Let me be aggressive. Let me go out there and get me a Diggs, a Mixon, Daniel Hunter, add these different pieces to the team to try to open our Super Bowl window right now where we ain't got to pay big money to anybody. We just go out there and just play free and compete. So the Texans did that, and their team is looking very good. So I think they're going to be up there contending for the AFC Championship. Especially with this defense, going to be one of the main factors of that because they have a very innovative defense. So we're going to see what happens. But Texans are number 6 on my list right now. Number 5, I have the Steelers on my list. The Steelers defense, as you guys know, is the driving force of their team. Last year, the defense helped them win so many games, even with the lack of depth. You look at last year, the Steelers, Cam Hayward is out with a torn groin for 8 weeks. Micah Fitzpatrick missed a lot of games. He made a Pro Bowl last year based on popularity, probably, but he missed a lot of games last year, so I don't know how he was eligible for the Pro Bowl. But he was out for a lot. And different guys, lost both starting linebackers, and Cole Holcomb, Quan Alexander. 2 of our starting linebackers, with Landon Roberts was there, but he got banged up, but he still played as well. So with the defense being banged up, the Steelers did allow a lot of passing yards and allow a lot of rushing yards, but points. They only allowed 19 points per game with their injured defense. 19 points per game, it was top 5 in turnovers as well. And they also was, I think, tied 2nd or 3rd in the fewest of points allowed in the 4th quarter. The defense went out there and made a lot of game-winning stops too as well. Game-winning stops, we see interception after interception. I remember Quan Alexander had one. I remember KZ had an interception in the game. And many different games that the Steelers defense went out there and ended it. Against the Packers, against the Titans, against the Raiders and different stuff like that. The Steelers defense went out there and ended games and won games for them. Very dynamic defense. Now when you add Patrick Queen this season, and then you add a guy like, of course, Peyton Wilson, who fell in the draft, you add him as well with the guys you already have. And then you also add Dante Jackson, Cam Sutton to JPJ, who played phenomenal last year, his rookie season, played very good defense. And then you add the pieces we have already on the line, with T.J. Watt, you look at Alex Highsmith with Herbert behind them, Cam Hayward, Cameron Bennett, his rookie season did a good job as well. Add Deshaun Elliott in the backfield as a safety as well. So they have some pieces they added to the roster, and they're going to be competing. I think the Steelers defense is top 5. Especially when healthy, but now they have a lot more depth. They come in building over the past few years, building the team up. You've seen little by little, they adding different guys here and there, and now they finally in the product. I think they can go out there and compete, especially when they add additional new quarterback as well. And the Steelers defense put a lot of snaps last year. Their offense only allowed, I think, it scored 16 points per game, and the Steelers still, it's crazy. Defense only allowed 19, offense only scored 16, and they still made the playoffs at 10-7. So with better offense, it helps the defense out a lot. Both sides of the ball help the defense out, help you out a lot. Because, if your offense can be on the field and run the football, and you keep that defense fresh and hungry and excited and energized, it's going to be very bad things happening for opposing teams when you have T.J. Watt and all those guys coming at you. So I think the Steelers defense is top 5. I have number 5. They could be higher, but some of the other teams I have on the list, I thought they have a slightly better defense. So I'm going to keep the Steelers at 5 on my list. And let's get to number 4, which will be the 49ers. The 49ers have an amazing roster. You look at guys like Bosa. They add Leonard Floyd now. Hargrave is still there, amazing player. Fred Warner is there. You got Greenlaw, who's still there, is another good player as well. You have what's the cornerback name? Javarius Ward there as well. So they have a lot of guys on the roster. I think last year they had. Oh, and don't forget the safety too. I can never say his name. Alpha Sunk. You know what I'm talking about, the safety, number 29. No, he's an amazing player too with the hair and stuff. They call him Tropamalu Jr. He's out there playing. I think he's an All-Pro again this year. I think he's an All-Pro again. So they have an All-Pro with him, All-Pro with Bosa, and an All-Pro with Fred Warner. They have multiple All-Pros. They have guys who have multiple Pro Bowls around as well too. So they have a lot of different pieces where they can go and attack you at. They have one of the best offenses and one of the best defenses. They want a team that's balanced out as well. So we thought they won a Super Bowl last year. They kind of fell short to the Chiefs, but they probably going to be back in that same contention spot. I feel like they've been to the NFC Championship game like three or four straight years, I think. They've been there a lot. I remember they had Jimmy G that one year, and then I remember they had Brock Purdy, then they had Brock Purdy again. So I think they've been there a few times. So they've been there. They just can kind of get the job done. We're going to see if they can get it done maybe this year. You never know. But their defense is very good. Defense is lights out. They're going to be a top defense, for the rest of probably for a long time from now like that. They're the top defense. The reason I have them number 4 because I feel like some of the defenses right here, like the ones I have on this list, are a little better than them. Slightly, but I feel like these can be interchangeable. I feel like the top 5 can be interchangeable. A lot of these guys are very close neck and neck, but just based off seeing them from right now, this is kind of how I have it. But the 49ers are up there. They're amazing defense. Lynch did a very good job in constructing that roster. That roster is amazing. So I had the 49ers at number 4. Okay, and now for number 3, I have the Ravens. The Ravens defense is number 3 for me. Look at Cal Hamilton. Look at Marcus Williams, Marlon Humphrey. Roquan Smith, who I believe probably the best linebacker in the league. Now, him and Fred Warner, you can kind of debate that. Roquan Smith, he put a different type of dynamic of energy and very physical as well. They both are very good, but I think Roquan Smith, in my opinion, I feel like he's a better linebacker. Amazing player. Amazing player. All-Pro again this past season. Going to be All-Pro probably this year, too, as well. Stay healthy. Agent Zero is phenomenal. You know, I'm a Steelers fan, so I know all about Agent Zero. Going out there and dominating, doing things. So they have a lot of dynamic pieces. They lost Patrick Queen, of course. He's on the Steelers now. But Roquan Smith is good enough to have him there by himself. And then that they also have Trenton Simpson from Clemson, who started coming along a little bit later in the season as well. I feel like he might have a bigger role this year since Patrick Queen is gone. So they have some pieces there. Some nice pieces on their team. Very good defenses. That's one thing about teams in the AFC North. They're always going to have some good defense. The defense might not be elite sometimes, but it's always going to be good or around pretty good like that. Steelers defense, you know, Ravens defense, Browns defense, Bengals defense. They're all going to be very tough defense. A defense where you got to go out there and maybe wear 2 chin straps because they're going to go out there and try to look to hit you. So the Ravens bring that type of energy. Have a good secondary as well. They have pieces in the secondary, like I mentioned, Marcus Williams, Cal Hamilton, Marlon Humphrey, these different guys in that secondary. They can shut some stuff down. So I think the Ravens defense is a top 3. So I have the Ravens at number 3. Moving on to number 2, I have the Browns right there, another AFC North team as well. Browns, when healthy, I think the first 13 weeks of the last year's season, they held teams to 73 passer rating. They held them under 50 yards rushing yards. And I think under like 170 passing yards, 175 passing yards a game. So they was dominating teams. They was holding the teams down. They lost a few games, but most of those scores came from their offense not being able to put some points up. But the defense was shutting stuff down. Marcus Garrett is not Marcus Garrett. I said Marcus Garrett, the basketball player. Myles Garrett is amazing player. You know, Defensive Player of the Year last year. I think TJ Watt should have still won it, but, you know, I'm still a fan, so of course I'm going to say that. But Myles Garrett's an amazing player. The way he can go in there and get pressure in the run game, in the pass game as well, and make things happen. It was the leading force of that defense. And their defense was just – they have pieces everywhere. It's, like, kind of solid. Like every depth on their roster is just, like, solid. Like, okay, like look at the secondary. You look at the linebackers. You look at the front 7 and stuff, the D-line and stuff, the edge rushers. You like – I mean, not the edge rushers, but the D-ends and stuff. They just have a nice pieces all around, really. So I think the Browns defense is definitely up there. You could argue make them number 1, but number 1 I have on the list is a team that they have guys everywhere. They have all pros everywhere as well, and that is the Jets. The Jets. You look at their secondary with the duo of DJ Reed, and you add in Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner, all pro his rookie season. Good. I think was he all pro last year? I think he might have been all pro last year too as well, or. He's a Pro Bowler for sure, but I think he might have been All-Pro as well last year. But been having an amazing year so far to start the season off. And then you look at, of course, the pieces they added, like they added what's his name? They added somebody else. I forgot. It's somebody else that had a tip of my tongue. But the Williams brothers, of course, you know those guys. I think the Quincy Williams was a All-Pro last year. Quentin Williams, All-Pro as well too. Had a big contract as well. So. The Williams brothers are very good up front, so they have pieces everywhere as well. And like with their offense being terrible last year, their defense still made plays and kept them in a lot of games. They just couldn't capitalize. When Aaron Rodgers coming back now this year, you'll hope they will be ready to be better defensively as a whole because, you know, they have the offense to be able to score some points and actually get first downs, and then got to play a full game and stuff. But their defense is very good. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, all 5 of these teams in the top 5, Steelers 5, 49ers 4, Ravens 3rd, 2nd is the Browns, and the number one is the Jets for me. They can be interchangeable. You know, I feel like all these teams are kind of like within each other. I feel like when the season starts, we'll see who's the best and who will live on to be the best defense entering the year. But hey, these teams got some great defenses, and this is my list right here. I'm gonna go over the full thing again so you guys can see it. Patriots, Lions, Patriots at 10, Lions at 9, Cowboys at 8, Texans at 6. I have it written out of order. Patriots at 10, Lions at 9, Cowboys at 8. Chiefs at 7. Texans at 6. We got 5 Steelers. We got 4 49ers. We got 3 Ravens. We got 2 Browns. We got 1 the Jets. So this is my list right here. Let me know down below in the comment section what you guys think about the list. And I'll see you guys next time on the channel. The next video will be the offense one, so be on the lookout for that. But peace out.